We're joined now by Bruce Campbell, StoneCastle Investment Management Portfolio Manager. Bruce, welcome back.
Yeah, it's good to be back for another week.
Yeah, another decidedly weak week in the cannabis space. What do you see happening out there that's driving prices? Well, I don't know. Have we found a bottom, or is it going to go lower?
Well, it certainly seems that some individual companies may have found bottoms here. I don't necessarily know if the sector's found a bottom yet, though. That's going to be the challenge here, and I think tax loss selling probably has a bit of a bearing on that. I know I've talked to several people who have said that they're in that process now, and I would imagine that kind of ramps up into November and December.
Yeah, you bet. Do you think that this is the point at which the great bifurcation happens among cannabis companies, where those with cash and revenue and a good, sort of path to profitability separate from those who are burning too much cash, can't get more, and are not necessarily looking quite so attractive on the revenue front?
You haven't really seen that too much yet to speak of. I mean, it's been basically just over the cliff down, but I think that that's going to be a 2020 event for sure. I think that you'll start to really see investors become more discerning on who they invest in. So if companies have cash and they're moving towards profitability, because I think now investors are realizing, especially with this downturn, like, we can't count on these companies always coming back to the capital markets to be able to continue to fund their operation. At some point in time soon, they need to be able to generate cash flow, which will start to fund their operations as well. So I think in 2020, you're going to really see a divergence there. The guys that have spent the time and got their businesses streamlined enough so that they're close to cash flow positive or cash flow positive, versus the companies that, they're still building and expanding and burning through a bunch of cash.
Yeah. StatsCan reported August numbers on Friday last week that were 104 million in July. That's July. That's not August.
Yeah.
But the numbers
127
were
million.
127
million for August. Right. Yeah. So.
And that's an increase. So the sales are going in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 22% increase, which is great to see. That puts the sort of run rate at 1.5 billion, assuming that it continues to grow. And I mean, we're still seeing the biggest issue being the access to cannabis in a retail environment. Ontario still doesn't have that many stores. There are licenses in BC here, but not that many that are out there. And I mean, Alberta seems to be leading the way as far as the number of locations that they have per capita.
Right. Okay. So then, what did you make of the bona fide getting their license back? That was quite the event.
It was. I mean, obviously Ravenquest was asked to come in and step in and help out, and they obviously worked through the process. And after basically having illegal product through their channel and selling it, Health Canada has given them the green light, and away they go. So for all those people that are sort of clinging on to Cantrust, maybe there is some hope there. I was a little bit surprised that this happened as fast as it did, but maybe there's potentially some hope there for Cantrust as well.
Sure. So that was sort of my next question. Does this make Cantrust a buy on speculation that they'll be able to squeak through as well?
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't personally step into Cantrust at this point in time, just because the risk just far outweighs. But I mean, if you had a huge appetite for risk and you could afford to say, okay, well, I'm willing to lose all the money I put in there, then yeah, I mean, this could be a lottery ticket, multiple bagger that you could see on the other side if they were to get licensed and return back to their glory.
Yeah, no kidding. But it is refreshing nonetheless to see that there is a sort of a path to a remedy besides just shutting the company down and taking away the license.
Yeah, for sure. That's right. Because that's what a lot of people just expected, is like, sort of once you went that offside with Health Canada, that was it. It would be, game over. But, Bonafide's proved that's not the case.
Right. You were also you had some comments about the packing issue and the 10,000 tons of waste in the cannabis space.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Health Canada has been very concerned about the packaging, how it's packaged, how childproof the packaging is. But now we've created a whole nother issue, which is the amount of packaging that's being created. 10,000 tons, right? Which it looks like there are some solutions out there. But what will Health Canada look at? Because right now they're not even looking at that, and there's talk that there's 70 grams in some cases of packaging created for a 3.5 gram product. So it seems like it's a little bit overboard, and I think that probably has to get fixed over the next year.
Right. The cannabis industry has been under fire for environmental issues on several fronts lately, with the massive waste of rock wool also sort of figuring prominently in that. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know a ton about it. Obviously, when I've talked to different LPs and been in their facilities, I've always asked, kind of what they do and how they get rid of it, and there really hasn't been anyone that's come up with a great solution. I don't recall where I was, but someone was selling it, and they were actually getting paid by someone to take it. I think that might have been in the States, and they were using it for some type of reusable product. And I mean, that's going to be something that needs to be developed. I think that some of the waste too, as well, on the hemp side, could become an issue. There's so much of this hemp that's going to have to be processed in order to get the CBD from such low quality strains, that now you're going to have all this biomass. And I've heard people talking about using it in different methods. So if that's putting it into cars, or if that's using it for building construction materials. So that's going to be something to watch in the future, and it'll also be probably a fairly fantastic area for an investor to look at if somebody comes up with a solution for the rock wall, or for the hemp.
Yeah, actually, there is a company that I'm going to send you a note on. Their name escapes me right now, but they are producing an alternative to rock wool that is based on charred wood waste. And
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's biodegradable, it's reusable, it has a lower cost per unit of usage, and it has none of the problems of rock wool. So I'll keep you tuned on that one as I get more information about it. Now, let's talk about Zen Abyss, because Zen Abyss has been, suffering the slings and arrows of the cannabis space, but it seems like it's got this cultivation agreement with Tantalus now and is doing a rights offering.
Yeah, there's been a couple of news pieces out this week on them. So first of all, they announced that deal with Tantalus. So effectively, it looks like they're almost subletting some of their space out to Tantalus, who can't build their facility fast enough for the supply that they would like to have. So that was kind of interesting, because it basically allows what would be a competitor to come in and use your facilities. But when you're desperate for money, I guess you have to make those type of agreements. And then today, on Thursday, they announced that they were doing a rights offering, and it was considerably lower than where the stock is, and the stock was selling off, and it was down, I think it was down like 25% there on Thursday, with the rights being priced at 15 cents with a right and a half. And 15 cents you get another share. So stock probably drops down close to that level.
Yeah, you bet. Okay, so in this current environment, Bruce, are you looking at any new names in the cannabis space?
Well, nothing brand new. I mean, we're certainly going back through our lists and trying to determine exactly who is where as far as cash goes, and who probably won't need to be raising cash, and who will be cash flow positive kind of in the quickest time frame. So we've been high grading our portfolio wherever we can, trying to move out of situations where they might look or need to be raising even in the kind of new year, to companies where they have cash and they have the ability to be cash flow positive in 2020.
You bet. All right, Bruce, that's a great update as usual. That was the StoneCastle Investment Management update of the week. Thanks very much for joining me again.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
You bet.